Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Breakdown with Hansen and Brown, the lockdown episodes. I am, of course, not a horse, but I am David Hansen, and with me today, as always, is my beautiful co-host, Mr. Joseph Brown. Joseph, how are you today?
David, I'm just doing fantastic. Thank you for your kind words.
Oh, really showing off the hair today, Joe. What are you wearing? Who are you wearing today?
Who am I wearing today? This is a little number called Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. It's it's an homage to a school that I've loved my entire childhood that did not accept me.
Is that from the traitor to your own school line?
The traitor to my own school line. This is called the I live in my parents' household and they make the rules line.
Fair. Those two lines are pretty similar. It's hard to tell between the two. There's a fine line.
Both of my parents and my uncle went to Notre Dame, and my aunt went to St. Mary's Notre Dame. So, in my family, you don't drop the shirt even after you get denied.
And with us today is our special guest. He's been a friend of ours since, as long as I can remember. All the way back to elementary school for me, probably middle school for Joe. He is the cream of the crop when it comes to Canucks. It is Tristan Contant. Tristan, how are you today?
Tristan, our favorite Canadian.
Yeah, dual citizenship, baby, right? Yeah.
Right.
I also love how you have the Canada flag in the background.
I gotta always represent
Canadian flag. You are, wait, let me make sure I'm correct in saying this. I think you are the first person that we've ever had on this show to have non-United States citizenship.
Yes, I have non-United States citizenship.
We all have U.S. citizenship. You have both. But
Yeah.
We've never had someone on this
And
show
dual.
that has citizenship somewhere other than the U.S.
Yeah,
We should change that.
That's true. I think that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just love our country. What to say, It's USA, baby.
Woo. Yeah.
Anyways, Tristan is joining us today from our beautiful hometown. But when he is not stuck here in quarantine, he goes to Calvin College, formerly Calvin College, now Calvin University.
Oh, yeah.
Tristan, why don't you talk a little bit about what you're doing over there at good old Calvarino.
Yeah, sure. So I had a great freshman year. I was able to be part of this program where it's like a phage research program, essentially. And I got to isolate my own bacteria and everything. And I got to go use an electron microscope to take close pictures of it. It was a really long process. It was it took a whole semester to get it all done. But I don't know, I learned a lot. And I'm also taking a bunch of other really cool classes. I'm a statistics and bio major, which is kind of a lot of people, when they hear that, they're like, what? So I get to take a lot of stats, but I also get to take a lot of biology, which are kind of my two favorite passions. So that's kind of what I'm doing over at Calvin right now. Yeah.
That's a really interesting combination. It's not immediately obvious how those two work together.
Yeah, in terms of STEM, they're kind of on opposite sides of the spectrum, you think, where statistics is very numbers heavy, analytical, where biology is very systems, big picture, I don't know, how does it all work together stuff. So it's kind of putting those two different paradigms together into one.
Right on.
Yeah.
And doing something, biology, that isn't a walk in the park, especially at a school like Calvin. So,
yeah.
How do you combine both biology and statistics and still manage to live a normal life?
Yeah. Well, it did help having taken a couple classes in high school that kind of cleared up my schedule to get this done in time. I'm double majoring, so it's two separate programs, but there is a lot of overlap between them. Yeah, I don't know. I've never really worried about losing free time or anything about that. So
Tristan doesn't need to worry about that. He's just, he's just good. He's good at what he does,
Just handles it.
It
I'd
just
like, I have this fun anecdote about Tristan because I once had a conversation with Tristan's little sister, Ella, about classwork because she had been asking Tristan about high school classes, like which high school classes she should or shouldn't take or what his opinions were. And she had asked him about A-Push, which is a class that some people think is really difficult. Other people don't think so much. I think regardless, like it's a lot of work either way, whether or not you think it's difficult. And Tristan had been like, oh, A-Push was no problem. A-Push, was not nearly as bad as people made it out to be. And she was like, I don't really feel like Tristan's word means that much in this case.
I don't
Just
know
because
when I
Tristan said it wasn't hard doesn't mean it's not difficult. It just means Tristan did it. Whoop-de-doo.
looking back, that was probably one of the toughest classes actually I took at York. Like,
Well, didn't you take AP Bio?
yeah,
Is
but
AP Bio worse?
I don't know, equally as bad. I was super lucky. So my AP Bio class, it didn't really get me out of a biology class, but essentially it was like the same class with the exact same textbook. So like last semester, I literally just like retook the same class, which kind of sucked, but was also kind of nice because it was like I literally kept all my notes and everything, so I could just, I don't know.
Oh, wait. As somebody who took a lot of AP classes, and AP classes are kind of standardized throughout, how would you rank the difficulty of the AP classes that you took? Like, which ones stand out as the most difficult? Which ones did you think were a little bit on the easier side?
I thought AP Gov was the easiest one until with Mr.
I would agree with that one. Yeah.
Great class though, nonetheless. I love Mr. Dowdy. But AP Bio is probably one of the hardest. A-Push was up there too. But honestly though, I think it depends on like the school that you go to because I know I've talked to people from other schools about like AP Bio and they're like, yeah, that's just like not a tough class at all. Like it's just like any other class. So I think it's for AP Bio, I think it has to do with the teachers, like Mrs. Moss and Mrs. Van Hook, who's now retired, just made it like a really rigorous class. So I think
Not necessarily a bad thing, you get more out of it.
Really prepared now. So
I can't remember. I'm pretty confident you took AP Physics 1 and 2 with us, right? Junior year, not Physics C.
yeah, exactly.
I found out the hard way that colleges don't accept, or at least U of I wouldn't accept Physics 1 and 2 because it doesn't involve calculus.
Yeah.
But it was a useful class for somebody who has to take a lot more physics. It was a really good, foundational class to take. It was pretty difficult at York, though.
Makes it for me because I'm not an engineering major.
Yeah, my one
Poor thing.
AP Physics 1 and 2. I wish I would have taken AP Chem instead of that because I didn't get credit for it. Never gonna need to take really any physics because I'm biology and statistics, so I just kind of leapfrog over physics in terms of the STEM spectrum. So
honestly, kind of same. Chemistry at college is the hardest class I've taken so far. Not like in that the coursework was really hard to understand, but that they made the class really difficult to do well in, and I hated it.
Yeah, Chem, I believe 102 and 103 at U of I are those are GPA busters. So.
Well, 103 was super easy. The lab, if you just do the lab work every week, I think it was perfectly reasonable. But 102,
so just 102 then.
The lab work wasn't really that bad. I found the lab work to be pretty straightforward. I mean, it was like a decent amount of work, but that's what you expect in college. It was like maybe a 2-hour lab and probably like 45 minutes to an hour of prep work before the lab each week, which I found to be completely reasonable. It was just the class, man. They had so many people in that class. They got people in pre-med. They got people in engineering majors. They have all these people that they need to spread into a spectrum right at the beginning of college and put them in the A students, the middle of range, and the low end students. So even though it wasn't that difficult of a class, the homework was all online and it was daily. Like you had new homework assignments every single day to do on the stupid ALEC system. And the assignments, like the quizzes, were set up in a way that you'd get a question and it would be like, what are the shapes of all of these molecules? They'd give you 7 of them and they'd all have a drop down menu and you'd have to correctly guess the names of all of them. And if you got even one out of like the 7 of them incorrect, you got the whole question wrong and you lost a point for the whole thing. And that was like all of the quizzes. Like you had to have flawless runs on all the problems to do well. It was just, I thought it was kind of ridiculous how they set it up.
Yeah. And chemistry's been hard for me too. I have to take a lot of chemistry because of my biology major. This upcoming semester, I have to take OChem, or organic chemistry.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect. So I have to buy a textbook for the class, and then I have to buy a solutions manual for the textbook. And the solutions manual is bigger than any other book that I have to buy for the next semester. It's like that thick. It's probably bigger than the textbook. Like
Their solutions manual is thick. Thick with a QUE.
Yeah, exactly.
They just know it's going to be tough that they're like, all right, and you get the answers as well to all the questions. You're not going to get them right.
Much. They're like, there's no way you're not going to need the solution manual. So,
Tristan, have you ever seen the a remarkable film, Good Will Hunting?
Love that film. One of my favorite.
So that scene in Good Will Hunting where he does like a Harvard senior level organic chemistry paper on a napkin in 45 minutes.
Yep.
Level of difficulty, you would say?
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be something like that. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah,
but I can tell you that I'm not able to write that napkin paper thing, so I'm going to be struggling through this class. But it'll be okay.
Skylar has an excellent line in that movie where she gets upset with him because he studied organic chemistry for fun, and she's like, "Nobody studies this for fun." He's like, "You study it because you have to. You study it. I don't want to study it. I have to."
Yeah.
That's a great movie. Quotable movie. How about them apples? Mwah. Mwah.
Like apples? David loves apples.
I do love apples. Now that it's out there, I do love apples. I also love bananas. Fruit, pears. I love pears. Pineapple I'll have in a smoothie.
Just list all the fruit so that I can have the audio recordings for future use.
Yeah, exactly.
I like mangoes. Not a big orange guy. I don't really like oranges. Or people with orange hair for that matter.
David's kind of lagging a bit on my end.
Oh no, am I?
It's okay. I'm gonna use that audio clip to make you say I love orange hair. So.
No, I said I don't like orange hair. That's what I said. I said I don't like oranges, nor orange hair, nor orange.
Right, but you have, over the course of the last minute, said the words, "I love orange and hair," and that's all I need. So.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter.
David, did you consider picking up video editing?
No, it's an expensive hobby.
It is an underrated skill. It is an underrated skill.
Anyways, back to our guest.
Yeah.
Before more slander is produced. So now, Tristan, outside of but biostatistics, like that's your major, but that's not really like the most interesting thing in the world. I know I also do statistics. So, you got to do some stuff to
not the most interesting thing in the world.
You got to do some stuff to pass your time by, right? So I know for a fact that you are part of a little jazz combo on campus.
I am. I'm the pianist in a trio. Yeah, jazz trio. So it's me and piano, and then we have a bass player and a drummer. And yeah, I'm a little bit nervous to see how it's gonna work out this year,
right,
or this semester, because yeah, a lot of things aren't going to be open. I was talking with one of my buddies, Mason, who's studying, I think he's drum performance or like jazz drumming or something like that, essentially. And he was saying the same thing too, where he's like, yeah, I don't know what the future of this business or industry will look like. So it's kind of all up in the air right now. But, regardless, I'll have some fun just playing
Yeah,
around. So,
I feel like a
yeah.
lot of jazz music relies on live performances, almost more than like other forms of music. It really relies on having like those like clubs or just like small events where you can play. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of jazz, I feel like, especially, I think more than other genres, is you communicating with the other people in your band. Um, and watching that live is kind of fun. So I think, yeah, jazz is really meant to be seen in person. So we'll see.
Jazz really needs to make a comeback in the mainstream. Like it is.
It's the 20s again. I mean,
That's what I've been saying. We're run right back into the roaring 20s. Let's bring back swing music. Let's bring back some jazz. It's incredible because like I didn't get introduced to jazz until we got to high school, and I started hanging around people like you, people like Mason Lampa, people like Ben Pavlik.
yeah.
And then in our own little bubble in York, we had all these people that had such a great appreciation for jazz that we had the Tristan Contant quintet touring around at all of our events. We had all of our buddies singing with you guys, and like we all just had this great appreciation for it. And it's sad that that doesn't exist like elsewhere in the mainstream because it's such a great experience.
Yeah, I know. I feel like a lot of times people think also that like when they think of jazz, they transport themselves back into like the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, like big band jazz. And while that's like really good stuff, there's also like a bunch of new jazz stuff out too. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of new and interesting stuff going on in the genre that's kind of like that I'm kind of looking at and trying to figure out how I could incorporate that into like a trio setting. So yeah.
And what kind of like gravitated you towards jazz originally? Was it like that whole communication that needs to happen between the players? Is it like the improvisational kind of aspect of jazz? Like what brought you to jazz?
Yeah. So I did classical piano up till 8th grade. And around 7th and 8th grade, I'd hit the point where, you either have to go all in or you kind of have to just stay where you are kind of. And I was like, I don't really think classical music is the thing that I want to devote myself to, I guess, if I'm going to devote myself to something musically.
I don't blame you.
So I went to one of the district middle school jazz bands that Mr. Pavlik, the band director at our high school, he ran it. So I just showed up, didn't know anything, didn't know what I was doing, didn't know how to read chords. And then we were playing a song. I'm trying to pretend like I'm playing piano because I'm just like, ah. And then Mr. Pavlik pointed at me in the middle of the song and said, "All right, Tristan, take a solo." And I was like, what? I was like, and I probably just played like Mary Had a Little Lamb or something like over the changes. I don't know what I did, but I think after that moment, it was like kind of like jazz is kind of just like, all right, let's just go. Like I don't know, like I felt like in classical, there was a lot of technique, and you could spend like half an hour on just like 4 measures perfecting it, and I just liked how jazz was a little bit more fast-paced in the learning curve for me. And I think that's what drew me to jazz. Also the people in jazz were amazing, like Ben, Mason, Henrik. It's a great community. So yeah
I feel like classical is very like rigid to learn. There's one way to learn it and there's one way to play it. But like with jazz, the whole thing is that you make it up on the spot. And I think that's exciting.
I know. I've been so this summer, I started getting back into classical because I had done jazz solely throughout high school. And I felt like I lost all that technique that you're talking about through those 4 years. So now it's kind of like backtracking to relearn some of that technique, and then using that technique in jazz. So yeah.
So like nail down those fundamentals.
Exactly. Yep.
It's good advice.
So
Even
yeah,
if
we'll
it's
see
like
how
the
it
more
goes.
boring way, it's always good to get the basic stuff down before you can really get fancy.
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of times in jazz, you just want to try to play up every single note at as fast as possible. That's what a lot of people think sounds good, but no, yeah, you're right. Getting the fundamentals is really important. So
I think it was a good old Nathan Lee who taught me a nifty trick in jazz, which was that if you pick the right spots on the piano, you can play jazz piano with your knuckles. It's just he was like, and he was just like hitting whole sections of notes, and it sounded good. It sounded jazzy. Like it didn't sound like piano banging. And I'm like, it's ridiculous that jazz just like allows you to do stuff like that. It is just
yeah, maybe
almost silly. Yeah.
was he just hitting like the black keys.
He was
Maybe?
going black to white. He was doing like little like pointy knuckle, and he was hitting little clusters of like 3 notes.
Oh man,
And
that's
I was vibing. He was sitting in the band room at York, just kind of like, hey, check this out. No fingers. And it was like, all right, get a little vibe going.
yeah.
All right. Okay.
I tried it and I couldn't replicate it quite as well as he was doing it.
Yeah.
There must have been some nuance that I wasn't seeing.
I
You
think
telling me?
Nathan he's getting pretty good at piano. Me and him take lessons from the same person, and I've heard that he's getting better. So it'll be cool to see. Yeah,
Noted.
yeah,
Right
yeah.
down potential future guest.
Oh,
Potential future guest.
yeah, yeah.
Have him on as a guest to potentially convince him to future go to U of I. Maybe.
Ah, you will vibe. All right. And so Tristan, you were saying earlier that like
Yeah.
jazz, when you think jazz, you might think like Great Gatsby kind of stuff, like back in the old days, but there are a lot of musicians these days who really incorporate jazz either as its own as jazz in the genre or even bring it out to other genres. We've seen it like through
Tristan, are
funk.
you also seeing David Lag?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, you guys are lagging for me, so haha. Oh, my internet connection is unstable, just like me. All right.
Well, I'm
But
glad I'm only talking to you through a computer screen then.
I would check on that, but we're live, and sometimes mistakes happen when you're live, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Stuff can go wrong. That's kind of the improvisational nature of the show. It
Yes.
makes it almost like jazz music itself.
Yeah, exactly. Transition.
Anyways,
It's like
back to
jazz
the
music. If jazz music was bad.
run by
Yeah.
2 morons, one in glasses and one who needs a haircut. So when it comes to, you were saying like, so jazz, when people think of it, they think very like Great Gatsby kind of thing, like very
Yeah,
old, like Tony's yada 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 saying before. But nowadays it's really incorporated not only in the jazz genre, but it stretches out to funk, it's stretched out to pop. You've even seen
Yeah.
it used a lot in musical theater. So like, what are your recommendations when it comes to jazz music monitor? Like, who do you like listening to now?
Well, I'm kind of sad because my Apple Music subscription just ended. So I've been listening to a lot of music, and now that will not be happening as much anymore. So, but regardless, I don't know. I feel like I've always been into Snarky Puppy, if you know who they are. I don't know. I think they're really cool.
Yes.
But yeah, honestly, I've been kind of actually, despite all the good new stuff, I've been actually going back to some older stuff. There's one guy I like whose name is Johnny Costa, and he was the piano player for the show Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and he was just an insane pianist, like incredible. So I've been listening to a lot of his stuff and trying to figure out how I can incorporate some of his ideas into stuff that I'm working on. So, yeah.
The guy from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I
Yeah.
feel like his talents was wasted on that show. He barely did like little riffs, and that's it.
Oh, no. Just watch an episode, and you'll
Am
see.
I underestimating it? I guess I've never
You're
listened to the
underestimating
soundtrack.
Yeah,
of Mr.
Underestimating the
Rogers' Neighborhood.
soundtrack. Oh man.
I
Just
don't
a
know.
wonderful day in the neighborhood,
Yeah, he could have gone, I think, a lot bigger, but I think he wanted to stay near his hometown and near his family, so I think that's why he took the job. So yeah.
I think there are little hidden gems of talent in the entertainment world, because I think there are so many people that are like incredibly talented and not everyone becomes a big name. Like another pianist that does not get appreciated for how awesome she is the Lauren Hall, the pianist for Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
Some of the improv work she did on that show is more impressive than the comedy.
Yeah.
When they do the improvised music pieces, she's like right along with them. She doesn't know what they're going to do, and she has to accompany them just on the fly.
Yeah.
And she does a phenomenal job.
If you have never watched Whose Line Is It Anyways, put that on your list. One of the greatest shows ever made, and I wish it was like they kind of tried to revive it, but the revival wasn't like it wasn't really good.
David, would you go on that show if offered? If you were given the opportunity, would you just to go on that show? Would you do it?
I would.
That's a lot of pressure because I like improv, but it's also my least favorite form of comedy to perform. I like
my most favorite form of comedy to perform, so I would definitely take that opportunity.
I would like to come, like, I like coming out of the show with, like, I like preparing stuff beforehand. That's why I like doing stand-up and stuff. However, I watched Middlevich and Schwartz, Tom Middlevich and Ben Schwartz on Netflix released, three different shows of theirs where they were doing long-form stand-up, or not long-form stand-up, long-form improv. And the whole time I was watching that, I was like, oh, that would be so fun to do. So I think I would take that position. It'd be a lot of pressure, but I love and hate improv. I have a love-hate relationship with improv because I love knowing what I'm doing beforehand. But I think some of the funniest stuff can come just off when you see someone's mind work it out and be like, oh, I've got a great line here, rather than someone already knowing they're coming in with a great line. I like people figure out they have a great line coming.
We've done so many improv bits in like different theater aspects and different improv comedy stuff that we've done over the years, that some of my favorite jokes that I've ever heard or like seen acted out physically have come from little improv games and just like where you force people to try things they hadn't thought to do before. You just get these like really weird reactions out of people, or like in the moment they're just like, what's the funniest thing to do? Like, I'm gonna try and do a handstand right now, and then fall over, and then we just like roll with that. And we've had so many great things that we did in speech and stuff that I thought I had videos of, and I went back later and found out the audio was corrupted, which annoyed me. Otherwise those videos would be online right now, of stuff that we've done. So improv is most definitely my favorite type of comedy, even if it has a little bit of pressure attached to it.
Yeah.
If you think about it, this whole show is improv. We don't plan anything beforehand.
Never have. I mean, maybe Touchdown, David used to prepare stats ahead of time, and I always had like little segments. But aside from that, we've never prepped anything for this show.
I think that's the way to do it, like, because, I don't know, people aren't seeing each other as much nowadays because of the pandemic, and there's something nice about, like, just like a natural conversation, you know, like nothing pre-prepared. It's all just off the cuff, and I think that's what makes shows like this entertaining. So
it's close to a natural conversation. It doesn't match what like a natural conversation with me would look like. If this is a natural conversation with me, at some point I'd be like, hey guys, did you know that the company Red Bull doesn't actually make the drink? And then you'd be like, wow, Joe, we don't care, please don't tell us anymore. And I'd be like, I'm glad you asked. So the thing is, and then that's me in pretty much every conversation. But I try and pull that back on the show because it is probably my worst trait in conversations.
Joe,
no,
you don't have any bad traits.
Are you trying to butter me up so I don't make another attack ad, David?
No, I'm just trying to compliment you. The other route I could have gone with Joe.
Oh, just Buttercup on a sugar cube. Just Buttercup on a. It's okay.
I hate this man. Why do I do shows with him?
I'm like an angry little leprechaun, only 6'1".
I'm like an angry little leprechaun. Joe, if you were Joe, you you are not an. I don't know how to phrase this, but you are the happiest leprechaun I've ever met, and the least Irish-sounding leprechaun I've ever. You are a leprechaun. You smile.
My
your
Irish
way-
accent is terrible. I need to work on it.
You smile your way through kicking people in the shins, whereas the leprechaun's like, couple of minutes for you. Ooh.
It was once my dream
Get
to
to
be
be
the
Lucky
leprechaun
Charms.
at Notre Dame. Their mascot, they have like a leprechaun. It's
Mhm.
generally kind of a cheerleader. So I was learning how to tumble in high school, and I was like, I could be the leprechaun potentially someday.
You could have, if you know.
Yeah.
If you got admitted. Oof.
Whatever.
Yeah, I didn't either, so I can't
Go
really make too
Illini.
much fun of you. Right? None of us in this call
At least
even
I didn't
had a
get-
chance of getting.
Yeah, no one in this call got into
Yeah.
Notre Dame and chose to go somewhere else.
Yeah, none of
that
us.
wouldn't-
So.
No one. I can't think of anybody. David, can you think of someone? I
You
got
know-
deferred and denied. You got deferred, waitlisted, and denied. I can't think of anyone who got in early action and chose to go somewhere else.
Yeah,
A
I wonder who-
real stumper.
Anyways, back to you, Tristan.
Yeah. You know, I will say when you're picking where you want to go to college, you got to go to the place where you think you're going to do the best as a person. Even if school has more resources like Notre Dame, you got to go where you think you're going to succeed. So,
You got to pick the place you're going to be happy. you know?
yeah, exactly.
And I think it's smart to, if you don't want your life to revolve around a weekly football game, then, not going to Notre Dame.
I don't go to Notre Dame.
It's a line from
21
one of our
spandex.
previous guests. Anyways.
The one episode we can't post on YouTube, my all-time
Oh,
favorite
it's
episode.
posted, just unlisted.
It's unlisted. I know it's posted. I watch it all the time.
Ooh.
I watched it and I'm like, why did we do this?
If you're ever watching this show and you know us personally, which you probably do, hit us up and we'll send you the link to that episode because it is amazing. We just can't have it publicly on YouTube.
Ooh.
But enough about promoting our own material. Let's go back to promoting our guest,
Okay.
Mr. Tristan Contant.
Yes.
You're a busy man. You work in the summers. You go to school in the falls and the spring. But there's one thing that keeps you busier than anything else. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to craft a narrative here. And that's the fact that you have 5 siblings. I don't know if the people listening understand.
Tristan is Big Brother of the Year.
How
Yeah.
busy Tristan Contant's household is. Tristan is the oldest of 5 younger siblings, and there's a dog. Tristan,
Yeah, I'm constantly worried right now that someone's just gonna bust through my door, and so
and pop in and
I'm
make
just
a guest appearance.
disclaimer that might happen because that's just how my family works.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I'm the oldest of 6, so
So going
Your
from,
like little sister is maniacal. Every time I've come to your house,
Joe calls
just because
someone
you have a
maniacal?
pool in the backyard, you've had pool parties, and they just put her in the life jacket, and she just runs around screaming the whole time. It's amazing.
yeah, it's it's amazing.
It's a
a little lamb.
You just wind her up and watch her go. Just running around.
Yeah. No, when I went to college last year, it was like, that scene in like a scary movie where it's like, it's quiet, too quiet type thing, like
that was
there's
every
not
day
a
of your
kid
life.
screaming over in the corner right now. Wait, what is this?
Yeah, I can't imagine getting, spending almost a whole year with just one roommate and then coming back for 4 months with having 5 roommates.
The thing is, like, I would normally, like, I was planning on giving myself some time to, like, prep, like, get myself in the right mentality to go be around little kids for a long time. But I was kind of just like, oh, you're coming home now. Bye. Pack your things.
Yeah. Quarantine kicked you in real quick.
Yeah.
There is a headspace you have to be in when you're around little kids. You just have to be ready.
So
So now that you get the chance to return to once again leave this island of seclusion, what is the thing you're most looking forward to when you're gonna have, get back in college and have your own room? And what's something you kind of underappreciated and missed about having this many siblings?
Ooh. Well, I'm really looking forward to just being around my friends from college, my college friends.
Oh,
Yeah.
not us. I get it. You're looking forward to being
no,
away from
you
us.
guys can
Yeah.
go, but you can
Get
do
outta
it.
here. Go back to Illinois, he says. We're already there, we say.
Yeah. No, it'll be nice to see everyone, and I don't know. I feel like because we're not going to be able to go many places, and we're all going to be in the dorms because we have to stay on campus freshman and sophomore year. I feel like there's just going to be some crazy stuff going on because we're all just going to be cooped up. So I'm just picturing like massive pillow forts, or I don't know, just like something insane.
So like, you're gonna get to live community in real life.
Exactly.
Community.
Like a pillow fort war, like the
man,
fort versus pillow fort.
The pillow fort versus the blanket fort. Oh man, what an episode. Yeah, just like, I mean, if you get bored and you're cooped up, I mean, there's just nothing to do. You might as well, I don't know, like incite a prank war. Just to keep things
I'm thinking about
entertaining.
doing that too. So
Tristan, we're gonna call you in 2 months, and you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I'm just running like an underground poker ring."
Yeah,
Yeah, we got bored.
like,
We started
David
playing
and I are
cards.
gonna be like, "Oh, look at us, we're having a prank war, haha." We hit up Tristan and find out he's like taking it like level 100, like way higher than we thought we could reach.
Like getting people suspended and whatnot. Yeah.
Tristan's like, the paintball fights in community? Yeah, we did that on Calvin.
Pretty much. I've always wanted to do that.
I've always wanted to do that and have it. People take it that seriously, where like they actually like if they get hit, they're like, "Oh, okay, I'm done."
It's actually my favorite part about community is this air that they suspend of just everyone taking something so not seriously. And it's hard to do from a writing standpoint to like justify people taking something that seriously. And I think community usually does a pretty good job of justifying it, but it's just a magical world where people are just like having fun and doing crazy stuff. And like, that's just what life is like. I think it's really awesome to watch, like to make a little version of it for myself at college.
Community is a great show. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend also adding that to your list. Whose Line Is It Anyways? And then Community. Either order you'd like. Community's on Netflix. No
Whose Line?
sponsored ads.
Whose Line has hundreds of clips on YouTube. Just go on YouTube and look up Whose Line, and you'll find
so good.
Plenty of clips of it.
Tristan, is there anything you're gonna miss about it? Like about having this many kids around you constantly?
You know, it is not, kids are nice. Like, I don't know. It's nice being around someone where you don't have to have, like, that you don't have to have, like, a super deep conversation, kind of like, the bar is pretty low on what counts as, like, conversation. So, I don't know. It's nice to just, I don't know. That's kind of relaxing at some points. At the same time,
I could relate.
Talk with older people. So,
I live in a house with my 22-year-old older brother and my 16-year-old little sister and my parents. So I wish I could relate to the not having to worry about conversations. Sometimes my brother and my dad consume the entire house with a political debate. My sister and I just walk around them.
Yeah, I don't even think my sisters know like what a Democrat or Republican is. So that's nice.
Good for them.
I don't know.
I wish.
To live in that world. Oh man.
I don't know. It's kind of nice. I'll miss the home cooked meals too. Oh my goodness. I'm looking forward to.
Your parents are both good cooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna miss that.
They need to send me that curry recipe.
Yes. That was good.
Have you guys been putting on quarantine weight?
A little bit.
I skipped I did the freshman 15 in reverse when I showed up on campus, but since quarantine has started, I've gained 20 pounds.
Wow.
Ooh,
yeah.
I did like a minus 10, and then I think I went down 5 pounds the first semester, and then I like regained the 5 pounds over quarantine. So I don't know. I'm just averaging it out, I guess.
Look at you math major, averaging stuff out.
Like, so you'll
Anyway.
see that my net weight gain over the course of the year was in fact 0.
Plus 5. Oh, 0? Sorry, when I do minus 15 plus 20, I don't typically get 0.
Or I thought he said -5 plus 5.
Oh, you were talking about Tristan.
Oh,
I
yeah,
thought you were
me.
talking
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
you.
No, I was doing a
Oh.
little Tristan bit. For me, yeah, I've been, yeah.
I think I'm plus 3. Maybe 4.
No.
But I wish it was muscle that I was gaining. Anyways.
Now all of our viewers can know personal body
Personal, yeah.
They came today wishing to know how much has Tristan gained over quarantine?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the info
real
I want to know.
We took this whole idea of a personal conversation and brought it into the boring sector. We took it
Yeah.
into
Hey,
like, oh, how much are you?
that's why we can U-turn. That's why we're here to steer the ship, you know? That's Joe's doing a little turn. Well, okay, anyway.
It's a turn.
As we get towards the end of our show, Tristan Contant,
Yeah.
Mr. Contant, is that all right? Can I use your first name?
Can I call you Content?
Can I call you? Are you content with Contant, or should I go with Tristan?
Contant would be good.
All right. So,
Are you cool with Misty Tristy?
Misty Tristan?
Yeah.
Are you fine?
Or just Trisket or.
Are you fine? Trisket? Trisket's one of my favorites.
Yeah, Trisket. Let's just go with that.
All right, Mr. Trisket. As we get towards the end of our show, we like to play a little bit of game with our guests. You know, a little something. And when we say the show's mostly improvised, this is the part of the show where sometimes you plan something before, but the conversation that ensues is improvisation. Anyways, Joe, why don't you tell Tristan a little bit about the game we like to play?
We like to play a game, Tristan. The name of the game is Sticks and Stones to Pay Your Loans. The object of the game is to come up with some wacky or within reason situation, a little scenario you can put upon another person, something a little bit inconveniencing, something you'd say, hey, I wouldn't really want to do that. And then you say, but if you do this thing that I've come up with, all of your student loans, poof, gone, not $1. Anything you've already paid, back into your bank account. No, it's like you started college with a full ride. All student loans completely gone. But you have to do my wacky scenario that I made up for you that you may not want to do. And then you have to decide whether or not you would take the deal. Deal or no deal is the name of the show. What were we talking about, David?
We were talking about a game we played that is not copyrighted, nor has ever been hosted by Howie Mandel.
Yet.
That's true. We are in contact.
I am looking to forcibly shave David's head pretty soon. So.
Oh, wait.
Stay tuned.
Side note. My little brother Aiden just shaved his head. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
When?
Like just randomly, just decided to shave his head.
He just came out of the bathroom one day and he's like, Mom, Dad, I'm grown up now.
What he did is he shaved
I am a
his
bowling ball.
head, like a little couple patches on the side, so it looked like he was like an old
Bold choice. Bold choice.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
All right, to pay your student loans, would you have Aiden's haircut? No. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, the way the show goes is we come up with a little scenario. We throw them out there. Joe, what are some of our favorites in the past? I know Nick's is one we always throw out as an example.
Nick's is one of my all-time favorites. Nick Ward proposed that in order to have your student loans paid sorry, David's lagging a little bit again. For the rest of the time that you are in college, once a week, you are randomly blindside tackled by a member of the Alabama football team. I turned that one down because I was concerned it would end in my death. Evie Nudera once pitched one that for the rest of your life, you were responsible for changing, what's his face?
Harvey Weinstein.
Terrible human being.
Harvey Weinstein?
Director. Yeah, Harvey Weinstein's colostomy bag. I don't know where the hell she came up with that one, but yeah. So there have been some weird ones. One of my favorites is actually one that I pitched because you guys adjusted a little bit, and it was that for the rest of your life after you graduate from college, you have to live and work in the state of Indiana or the state of Arkansas. You got to pick.
Horrible. Never. Not once. Not even once. So anyways, yeah, that's how this show goes. You come up with weird stuff. I think one time someone came up with the idea where you have to bike everywhere, including indoors. Like you can't walk anywhere. You just have to bike there. So we've had some good ones in the past.
Hated that one.
So, Joe, do you have anything prepped for today? Tristan, if you want to come up with a scenario, feel free.
I absolutely do
anything
not.
on your head?
Bold of you to assume I prepped something.
Perfect. Well, then I will pretend like I came up with one and come up with one off the top of my head. You get your student loans paid off. That's a lot of money. You no longer have to pay any student loans. But every week, your perception of color changes. So what you see as red, other people might see as blue, except the next week you might see that color as green. You might see that color as yellow. Basically, you will always see everything as the wrong color.
Hmm.
And it changes
Interesting.
every week.
Huh.
Things that won't change, people's like skin color won't change. That will stay the same. But I'm talking about like clothing, cars, interior decorating.
You thought it was too creepy to change people? I don't want
Yeah.
people to be like freaking crayon yellow or purple. I don't want people walking around looking maroon. I don't
Right. Well, Joe, I don't
neon
want
yellow people.
I don't want you coming out of your house one day saying Blue Lives Matter, but meaning it like,
Like Smurfs.
about an actual person and not about an occupation. But we'll ignore the political side of that, and that's why people's skin colors will stay the same to you. However, you won't ever be able to match your clothes to look good because you won't know what colors they look like. You might see a nice combo with like, a nice, like a dull green pants with like a nice gray shirt. That should look good together. You walk outside, you're wearing neon orange shorts and the
Brown t-shirt.
brown t-shirt. It's gonna look bad. You're gonna look bad. Everything you see will probably look bad. You won't, like, nothing will be pleasing to your eye. People are gonna be like, look at this amazing painting. You're just gonna be like, that's horrible. Nothing, mountain landscapes won't look pretty to you at all. Sunsets will lose all beauty unless you get lucky with your randomized colors. The world just won't look good to you. It'll be like being a reverse colorblind person.
Too much color in all the wrong places.
But your classes are free and you won't have any student loans. I'm trying to think if there's any positives here.
I mean, it might have a little bit of novelty, like, to begin with.
You would be really good at, if anyone ever comes up to you and is like, hey, is this black or navy blue? And they hold up two things next to each other. Since your hues are randomized, they could hold up a black thing and like a slightly less black thing, but to you it's like purple and bright yellow. So you're like, oh yeah, those are different. Those aren't the same.
Interesting.
Man.
You could be, let's see, where would it be helpful? Not very many places. That's why you're gonna have to.
If you were an abstract artist,
Yeah.
you could make some really weird art.
Yeah. Yeah. It would, certainly help you. I'm running out of ideas. It wouldn't help you much.
It would not be great. It
Yeah,
would not be ideal.
I do not think I would take that offer. No.
No.
Yeah, neither do I.
I think it depends on your profession, to be honest. Because like it would be very fun to look at your food and have it look like, it's made with Play-Doh and a bunch of different colors. But you can't be a cook trying to make a plate look nice with nice garnishes, and then it comes out. It just doesn't look.
I think it depends more on how attached you are to color schemes and like the visual aesthetics of things. I think it would make life a little bit less enjoyable.
Just go around one day, invert all the colors on your phone, and if you don't like that, you probably won't like this one.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
All right, Joe, Tristan, give me a scenario.
I have in fact prepared one. I've just come up with one. So this scenario is that you get all of your student loans paid off,
Okay.
but for the rest of your life, I'm going to go with once a week.
Once a
You
week.
have to meet with an old women's book club.
Oh.
And this old women's book club is always discussing novels from the Babysitter's Club series. And you have to sit through their book club meeting every week for the rest of your life. And
Joe,
when they go through all the Babysitters Clubs, they're just going to restart. They're going to start back at the beginning.
They just really, really like the series.
They're really old, and by the time they've read the whole series, they've forgotten the first book, and so they just go back and do the first book again.
That would be the most irritating part, is that they would come to book club and be like, oh, well, I really like this part where, I don't remember, but it was very good. That would be irritating. Okay, can I schedule it? Can I decide when the book club's meeting?
You get to decide when it is.
Okay, so I could just set it. I could set it. Can I do anything while I'm in the meeting, or does my full attention have to be
You have to participate in the meeting. You can't be rude. You want to be rude in front of a bunch of old women? You want to whip out your phone in book club in front of 12 old women? You're going to get berated.
Well, they can't see it. I just take off their glasses before it's.
If you get kicked out of the book club, the deal is off, and no matter how long you've been doing it, you lose the money.
Oh no, you can get kicked out?
You have to stay in their good graces and not get yourself kicked out of the book club.
You know how easily old ladies are irritated. You're like, oh, he's the sweetest boy, and then one day you bring in like a plate of burnt cookies, and they're gonna be like, I never liked him anyways.
He doesn't deserve happiness.
No, he's a commie.
I would definitely take that offer though. Like,
you would?
Like,
you don't mind old people? Tristan deals with little kids. Old people's are easy.
Yeah, I don't know. For student loans, yes, definitely, I could do that. I could.
Tristan, have you ever read any of the Babysitter Club's books?
Absolutely not.
Well,
I don't really like reading. So.
The Babysitter's Club was
I'm not a big reader. Joins book club.
Not a big reader. Oh man, I'm just now realizing how many of these books there are. That's kind of good. I mean, at least there's a
variety. Yeah.
Wow.
There's quite a few.
Tristan, prepare to get really into Babysitter's Club, because if you don't come prepared, those old ladies aren't gonna look fondly
There are
upon
36 novels in the series. Wait, no, there are more than 36. After the original author was finished writing the first 36, there are more novels that were ghost written by somebody named Peter Larangis.
Are there enough for where you'd have one for each week of the year? So 52?
I don't have a clear number.
Listen, eventually you're going to be as old as these ladies, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
One day you're going to be, you're going to be the old person in the room. And, maybe maybe you and Gladys have, started hitting it off in your later years, And maybe you take her to wine after you go to book club. Actually, well, here's the thing. Book club is basically wine club featuring books. It's just a bunch of old ladies drinking wine, occasionally talking about the book. Am I wrong? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Listen, man. All I'm saying is if I have to listen to Lorraine tell us the same nonsense about how Marianne Spire deserved better in the wake of her parents' divorce, I'm going to blow my brains out.
I don't know. I think I could do this one. I would just have to prep for each one like I prep for, oh no, can you hear me?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. It told me my internet connection was unstable again. I just have to prep for these like you'd prep for like an English discussion at school, where you like don't really read the books, but you spark notes and then you say, oh yes, I very much enjoyed the theme of forgiveness and of empathy.
Gotcha. You almost lost me when you said prepare for English discussions. And I was like, did we ever prepare for English discussions? And you're like, just skim the Sparks notes. And then I'm like, that's how you prepare for English discussions.
Yeah.
No.
And, hopefully like Lorraine, Gladys, or Gertrude, one of them has to be a good baker. Maybe they bring good food. So, you got to sit through an hour or two of like, wait, how long is the book club? That's important. How long are these ladies talking about it, Joe?
We're talking like full.
let's go. I mean, how long are you talking about? Let's say an hour. I don't want to be super unreasonable.
I can
Like
do
an
an hour.
hour-long meeting.
Definitely worth it.
That being said, though, remember, you don't want to get kicked out of this group. And I know Tristan's been all over the place, but we are from the Midwest, and I can tell you that old women in the Midwest, Midwesterners in general, leaving a gathering is an ordeal. You don't just go, well, the hour's up, see you later, and then you just leave.
Right.
That doesn't even
right.
happen on these Zoom calls. We end this episode every time we film it, and then after we're done recording, we have another 10-minute conversation because we're all like, well, see you guys later. Oh, and about that other thing. Right. Yeah.
The Midwestern goodbye, as they call it.
You don't just waltz out of those meetings. So there's going to be a bit of extra time added onto that hour. It might be an hour 15, hour 20 minutes.
And old ladies, they can be judgmental. Like if you show up with a tattoo, like they're going to turn to each other and be like, I would never do that to my body.
That's rough. I plan on getting tattoos. I don't want to get kicked out of the book club.
Right. You'd have to keep them hidden. Because of course you can't show up in like too revealing of clothing either.
Well, I'll just wear a suit. I don't plan on getting any tattoos on my hands or my neck. So I'll just wear a suit to book club.
Yeah, wear a suit. But then one of the old ladies is going to call you out for being, too try hard. Except she won't use that word. She'll just say, oh, he thinks he's better than us, dressing all dapper. Oh, but I can't stay mad at him. He's just as cute as a button.
How did this old lady go from being from Staten Island to being from like the old, I don't even like the old South? You went from like he thinks he's better than me to this gentleman's so dapper.
Listen, there's a lot of ladies at this book club, okay? Some of them were raised early on in Staten Island. Gladys had a tough life. She was born in Staten Island, but when her parents got a divorce, she was forced to move out with her father to the boroughs of Alabama.
Oh, so she probably relates to Anastasia Elizabeth McGill, whose parents also got a divorce after her father transferred back to New York City. I have the Wikipedia page for the series pulled up right now.
You would be splendid at book club. I think I'm taking it. I want that money.
I'm
a greedy man.
Mm-mm.
I really hate dealing with inane discussions. So I think it would.
Why do you do this show?
I like these discussions. I'm talking about like if I had a group of people talking out a book that I didn't care about, and they all have these like mundane, bland, watered down opinions about what the themes of the book means over and over again every week for the rest of my life, I'd lose my mind. And I couldn't do it. And I pretty confident I would eventually say some snarky shit that would get me kicked out of the book club, in which case it would all not be worth it at the end, because then I'd still have to pay off my student loans myself, and I would have just wasted a bunch of time. I don't think I'm capable of doing it without getting kicked out.
Sure.
All right.
So for me to do now.
So Joe's paying for his student loans. Tristan and I are going to book club.
Yes.
All right.
Well, I guess you guys can share each other's company at book club.
Tristan, do you have a scenario for us tonight, or shall we close out here?
I think I have one.
Okay.
So
Pitch it.
Your student loans are paid off, but you can't see your own reflection for the rest of your life. But not only can you not see your own reflection, whenever you look in a mirror or whatever you're seeing yourself in, like a mirror, you see like you, but a clown version of yourself.
Oh my God.
For the rest of your life. So not only can you not see like how you truly look, like you would never be able to tell like, does this outfit look good or whatever.
Right, because when you look in the mirror, all you're going to see is like the button up. Really.
But like you could also just be walking down like, I don't know, just like hallway, and then there's like a mirror and you just turn around and there's a clown staring.
I would hate that. I do not like clowns.
Yeah.
Now, is this clown just like a stationary image, or is there like a clown shadow version of me in this mirror dimension?
Yeah, clown shadow version.
Clown Joe.
In that case, I want to take it. I like
Really?
the idea of having a permanent antagonist that can never actually do anything to me, but it's just constantly like, I find that to be entertaining.
Okay.
Well, Joe, you would actually benefit the most from this because your reflection wouldn't look that different.
Yes.
I mean, clowns have red hair and pasty skin. You really, if you just add a red nose to what you're wearing right now, yeah, that would pretty much be it.
Is there any wonder, David, that there is now a nonprofit called Gingers Against David Hansen? You all think about the connections between your actions and the consequences?
No, rarely do I.
Oh, man.
Okay, that's a tough one for me because I think of all the different places I do see my reflection. Like, I'm looking into my phone screen, and when I lock my phone, I can see my face. And when I lock my phone, there's going to be a clown staring back at me laughing. I don't like
Yes.
that. I don't like that one bit.
See, but nobody else can see the clown.
Yeah.
So I'm going crazy at first. I'm like, did you guys see that? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
This whole time on
I
this
guess
Zoom
I've
call,
always
instead of my face, I'd
I see my reflection against the. Oh yeah, that's true. Because the camera, huh?
Yeah.
Wait, so any pictures I take of myself, would I see a clown or would I?
Yes.
Clown.
How would I know what to post on Insta?
You will never see what yourself, essentially. You'll only see a clown.
The
But other
bane of
people
all
see you too.
narcissists.
I've always been a really big fan of the trope in like shows and books of like the character that's a little bit crazy and can like hear someone that's not there, like has somebody just like talk to them all the time that no one else can see.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always found that to be really entertaining. So I would not be against that for myself.
You would just pull out a mirror and be like, what do you think, Clown Joe?
I feel like we could build a rapport, my evil clown twin and I. I feel like we could learn to communicate and get along.
You would get along swimmingly. You and Clown Joe.
Clown Joe.
Maniacally laughing at each other through the mirror. Tristan, would you take this one?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I think I'm in your page. There's just too many times where you randomly see your reflection and
Yeah.
it'd be like a jump scare. And I
Yep,
hate
exactly.
jump scares.
Man,
Like-
I always stand alone in this show. I think every time David and the guest agree to a condition, I always say absolutely not. And then every time everyone else is out, I'm like, well, actually.
Well, wait a minute. I like clowns. I like getting tackled.
Oh, no, I think we are all in agreement that that was a horrific idea.
Maybe if it was Illinois' football team, maybe, but it was Bama.
Maybe. It was Bama. It was Bama.
They hunt to kill.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
I'm definitely out on this one. I cannot.
I
too many
am
choices.
in. Clown Joe is going to be my new best bud.
See, I feel like after a while, though, you just see yourself as a clown. Like, you wouldn't know.
You have like an
What you
existential
really-
crisis. You're just like, what if
Yeah, you
the
just
clown me?
become the clown that you see.
What if the clown me is
Yeah.
the real me?
Yeah.
Then you just turn into like, then you just have your own like Joker scene where you're like running down the steps and dancing with like a red nose on.
Yeah.
You would, it would drive you crazy. But hey, you wouldn't have any.
You're like laying in bed at night, like you wouldn't have any student loans to pay, but you're sitting at night like, oh, oh, oh.
Wow.
Great prop work, Joe. I hope that showed up.
Thank you.
I really hope that showed up on the call.
I mean, it's not like I was hiding it at all. It was clearly. I've actually never figured out how people do that trick, like with their actual mouths. I think there's like a capsule you can buy where like the things are folded in really tightly in a loop, so they pull straight out. Either that or because like I've heard before the like comes out of the sleeve, but like sometimes you can like really clearly see it coming out of the person's mouth. I don't know exactly how that trick is done.
When I did it, I actually ate them, and then I just, the esophagus is a very durable tube, so I just pulled it right back out.
Commitment, right?
Where's my notebook? I gotta write that down real quick. The esophagus is a very durable tube, quote David Hansen. There we go.
Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in today. This has been a pleasant power hour with our Canadian friend Tristan Contant. Tristan, before we head out today, is there anything you'd like to talk about? Anything you'd like to promote? Anything at all you'd like to say? The floor is yours.
Not really. I'm thinking about starting a radio station at Calvin. So.
And what do you want to do with that? Music? You want to do talk shows like we do? Anything at all? Sports? What are you gonna do?
I think it's gonna look like a lot like Pizza FM, which is if you don't know, it's the online radio station that you used to stream on, right? So mostly music, but I would love to have talk shows. So.
Well, if you enjoyed listening to us or Pizza FM, I'm sure you will be very interested in Tristan's radio show when it gets booted up. So definitely tune into that. We'll keep you guys updated when that's up and running. That'll be. Do you have a name picked out for it yet? Because that's half the battle. That's half the battle.
I know.
Yeah, U of I really stole the best name, Pizza.
Pizza FM.
It's like, what's something people love? Pizza. Great, let's call it that.
Pizza FM. Yeah. I have a friend who at Elmhurst College runs the Underbelly Hours. I like that name too.
That's another great name that you can't use. In case you were wondering.
Another name you can't use.
Great.
You also can't use Breakdown with Hansen and Brown because you are neither Hansen nor Brown.
Goes without saying, Touchdown with Hansen and Brown is also a no-go.
Could I do like Breakdown with Brown and Hansen? Like,
yeah, sure. I mean, we don't have a trademark on it yet.
So,
when we do, we're going to sue you, just so you know. You will be seeing us in court.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, just so you know, we actually trademarked the word the.
You have a copyright on the word Buttercup?
The. Absolutely. Buttercup Bakery. Buttercup.
We took the before Ohio State could. That's why they weren't able to trademark it.
They're like,
yeah.
Joe and David have the word. And they're like, why did they even take it? Like, well, we were originally going to call the show The Breakdown, and then we thought that was a little wordy, so now it's just Breakdown. But we still have the trademark on the word the, so.
Anyways.
Something to do then.
Tristan, thank you so much for being on the show today. It was an absolute pleasure. Yeah, man. I mean, we wanted to, we asked you a while ago. You're like, oh, not right now. We're glad that we finally did have the chance to get you on because, you're a great guy to talk to, Very, very natural. I think you're going to do very well when you run your own radio show.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to have my own personal radio show. I think my job would be more management, but upkeeping the station. But
you gonna DJ at all? You're gonna throw out? You're gonna be like, and this one is from Snarky Puppy, and after that is Busty in the Bass.
Yeah,
you'd have a jazz channel.
I know. Get some college students into jazz. No,
not a bad idea. It'll get you more business if you can get people in jazz. I see what you're doing. Get the college students into jazz music.
It's so a circle. David, it's a circle. David, help me. It's a circle. David, help me. It's a circle.
I'm on to you, Mr. Contant.
I've been caught.
All right. Anyways, thank you so much, like I said, Tristan, for being on today. Joe, is there anything else you'd like to say before we close out?
It's all a circle, man. It's all.
You've heard of the circle of fifths?
Circle of fifths.
Another circle.
They're everywhere. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you'd like to watch any of our previous episodes, just head on over to our YouTube channel. You can tune in. We had a good one with Cyril last week. The week before that, we had Camille on. If you want to tune in the future, go ahead and follow us on Instagram. I will be promoting it and let you guys know. Typically the day of, maybe some days the day before, but I'm kind of lazy, so probably the day of. Hopefully we have good things in the future. You know, apparently someone's making us a promo video. Thank you very much. And yeah, I think that's about it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. And please remember, when you go out, please tune into some jazz music. You know, you never know what you might find. You know, sweet harmony, little music to listen to your ears. So remember, stay jazzy, and we'll see you all next week. Adios.